This is the Pale King. He's the ruler of Hollowknight and the father of all vessels, and he might seem like a pretty cool guy at first. I mean, he gave every single bug intelligence and didn't go to war with the mantises when they refused to be a part of Hollowknight. But he also did a lot of very questionable things, like murdering almost all of his kids, alongside 4 other crazy crimes. So in today's video, I'll be calculating the Pale King's prison sentence if he was ever charged for the crimes he has committed. Starting with crime number 1. Mass murder. So if you didn't already know, the Pale King created a bunch of these little vessels in an attempt to make one that was hollow. He then succeeded and named this vessel the Hollow Knights. Well, what about the vessels that weren't hollow? Well, he tossed them in a pit called the Abyss and left them to die. And keep in mind, there were a lot of failed vessels, and by a lot, I mean millions upon millions of them. So after doing some research, I found that the average punishment for mass murder was life in prison. That means that so far, the Pale King has 1 life sentence. Moving on to the second crime, infanticide. If you don't know what infanticide is, I didn't either, I had to look it up, but it's basically killing a child within a year of his birth. And like I mentioned earlier, the Pale King killed a bunch of these little guys when they were young. The maximum penalty for infanticide is life imprisonment, so that adds another life sentence to the Pale King's time in jail. Moving on to the third crime, we have oppression. Oppression is malicious or unjust treatment of or exercise of power over a group of individuals. Now at first this didn't really make much sense to me since I don't really remember the Pale King oppressing anybody, but then I remembered that he literally kept every single vessel that wasn't hollow in the abyss for the rest of their lives. Now the punishment for oppression is either a $4,000 fine, which is equivalent to around 25,000 GO, or 1 year of jail time. Now keep in mind, I got this information from a random Texas law website, so please take this information with a grain of salt. But this crime adds a 25,000 GO fine to the Pale King's punishment. Moving on to the fourth crime, we have unethical experimentation. Unethical experimentation is basically an experiment performed without the knowledge or consent of the subjects. And if you didn't already know, the Pale King experimented a lot with a substance known as the Void. It's what he used to create the vessels, without their knowledge or consent. So I think it's safe to say that the Pale King is also getting charged with unethical experimentation. Now unfortunately, I couldn't find the exact punishments for unethical experimentation, but I would imagine it would add another life sentence, since the Pale King's unethical experimentation was pretty bad. Last but not least is child abuse. Child abuse is when a child is harmed by an adult or another child. And since the Pale King is the father of all the vessels, that means he committed pretty serious child abuse, since he tossed almost all his kids in a dark pit for the rest of their lives. Now the average punishment for child abuse is either 1 to 15 years in jail, or a $10,000 fine, which is equivalent to around 62,500 GO. So yeah, it's not really looking good for the Pale King, since he got 3 consecutive life sentences and a total of 77,500 GO in fines. Anyways, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.